Okay, and welcome back to Johnson Valley, California, to the 4400 qualifying for the King of the Hammers 2019. I'm on stage with Ian, and we're going to be talking through this next set of qualifiers. We've got some fantastic cars coming up at 3 o'clock, and then of course at 4 o'clock it's Power Hour, the one that we've all been waiting for. But in this next group of cars, we've got some heavy hitters. We've got Darren Henke on the line, we've got Nick Nelson out there, we've got Jordan Pellegrino and a whole heap of other vehicles that are looking to try and break that amazing time set by Brian Crofts earlier today.
That's right, Jim. We've seen a lot of fast cars today, and as you said, Brian Crofts holding that pole position right now. Who are you most excited to see in this next batch of cars?
Well, I mean, I'm looking down. I mean, for me, it's got to be either Nick Nelson or Jordan Pellegrino. I mean, both of these completely different styles of car. But let's take a look at Nick Nelson's car. Nick Nelson, of course, used to be a seasoned favourite here. Always used to do incredibly well, and now he's come back with this Jimmy's Red Dragon 2, or let's call it a Dragon 2. Okay, it's got a 950 horsepower motor in it. He came second at the Reno Nationals. You know, the man's on form and he's getting in touch with his car, so he's definitely going to be one to look at.
Absolutely. For me, it's going to be Jordan Pellegrino to see that four-wheel independent suspension car that we talked to about earlier.
Okay, here we go. It's Darren Henke on course now. Car number 4 races from the line. And this next qualifying session for the 4400s is underway.
We'll have a great group of drivers participating from the 3 to 4 o'clock time, leading up to Power Hour. We should still see some fast times coming through here today.
To break in the top 10, they're going to have to be below 2 minutes and 30. I never thought we'd be saying that before Power Hour. That's incredible.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how fast the Power Hour guys can go. And I think, as we've said all along, I think the time is made up on the backside of Short Bus.
And as I'm looking at the top 10, as Darren Henke makes his way over the four-wheel parts rocks, there is only 2 solid axle vehicles inside that top 10. We've got Rick Waterbury, who threw down an absolutely incredible time to put him in 7th, and Dan Fresh is hanging on by his fingertips in 10th place.
There is absolutely no question that this particular qualifying course certainly prefers the IFS car. They tend to shine out here right now, but as we've said before, the race on Friday, the course is never the same, it's always different. And it seems to be some courses, they favor the solid axle cars, some courses, they favor the IFS cars. We really won't know until we're deep into race day to find out what kind of course we have right now.
Now Darren Henke's out here in a solid axle car. Darren, of course, used to race an IFS, so I'd love to know the backstory on why he's chosen to go to a solid axle. Sorry, we're calling that as Darren Henke. My fault entirely. It's actually Chip McLaughlin there. That's why I couldn't work out why it could be Darren, because it wasn't an IFS car.
So we have Darren on the line, patiently waiting. Chip McLaughlin coming through the backside. Back up to the Jeep Arch. Still have lots of qualifying action today. We'll have this group leading up into Power Hour that starts at 4.
And Chip's going to be sub 3 minute. But amazingly, he won't make the top 30. And this is Darren Henke leaving the line.
You can see how rutted out that start is right now. That makes a huge difference on that start.
It does. Changes everything, how you put the power down, how you transition out that first turn.
But a quick save by Darren to keep that on all four wheels and keep his day going. Be an absolute awful way to end your qualifying session right out of the gate like that.
We've only seen two cars roll on the short course today. First car off the line, and of course Stan Haynes. And next on the line, as we watch Darren Henke go around, is the car 123, Daniel Roderick out of the UK. Co-driver Dan Thomas sitting alongside him as we watch Darren Henke.
Takes that high line that we've been watching all day to stay out of those ruts in the bottom. Harsh transition into those ruts though, but carrying a lot of speed through this section right here.
This is good pace here from Darren.
Absolutely.
Just looking at his time now.
But as you can see, as we get on the day, this entire section of the course is in the shade, and then you come up over the top, and it is full sun.
Yeah, he's actually on for just on around about top 10 kind of paces if he keeps that up. But we've seen it time and time again. People bleed away speed as they come down the far side of short bus.
Yeah, that downhill section after short bus is definitely where everyone seems to either be gaining or losing a lot of time.
Oh, we're just getting shots here now. Danny Roderick, the 123 car from the UK. JFT Customs rig. Danny's been racing in Ultra 4 Europe for a number of years now. Hugely popular across the pond. Lexus V8 driving this car. And they've been working flat out since they found out they had a chance to come to Hammers. But this is Darren Henke making his way around now to the Jeep Arch. And this is a very good time indeed.
That's a very good time. Come to that Jeep Arch at just under 220 like that. Coming down the backside, full commitment.
He's not going to upset the top 5. Oh, nicely done there by
Let's see
Darren.
where he ends up.
Darren Henke, 7th position with a 229.
Excellent job, excellent job.
Great run there. And now it's time for the UK boys from the north of England. Danny Roderick and Dan Thomas. Once again, they're not here to try to win this thing. They're here to pay pilgrimage to King of the Hammers. They're here to soak up the atmosphere, to meet new friends and say, yeah, I've raced there.
Oh, I think anytime you can ship your car across the world, be involved in a race like this, definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Absolutely. He has so many friends here this week helping him, and so many well-wishers. And we're sitting in front of their computers. It's crazy early in the morning back in the UK at the moment. But they'll be screaming at their computer screens and TV screens as they're watching this. They've had a few problems while they've been here. They've been playing with suspension and all kinds of other little niggles, radio comms, etc. He goes nicely down over the rocks, heading his way back up towards short bus.
I'm going to guess the other sort of interesting thing about shipping your vehicle all the way from the UK to here is going to be there's not as many spare parts here.
Absolutely. They've had to come here. They can only get a certain amount of tools into a box. You can only bring a certain amount of spares. And also, most of the stuff he's running a Nissan GU axle in this vehicle, or a modified unit. And back in Europe, we can find those axles really easily. I'm not so sure that's the case here.
I don't even, I've never even heard of it, so I'm going to say no.
Very strong axle, available in 33-35 spline. A favoured weapon of choice for many Winch Challenge competitors in Australia and the UK, and all across Europe for that matter. And he's doing okay here. We were saying
right.
yesterday, anyone who crosses there in around 2 minutes is doing good.
Absolutely. I think you were saying earlier, they're definitely not here to try to set the world on fire. They're here just to qualify, get some seat time, get ready for the big race on Friday, and just have a ton of fun.
Absolutely. We've got a whole heap of Ultra 4 Europe guys here. Got Michael Hen out of Israel. We've got Nicolas Montador from France, Neville Canter from Malta. Look at this. Very nice. And of course we've got Inaki Lanzagorta from Spain, who's been racing Casey Curry's old truck. Danny keeping it smooth now as he comes around the bottom of King Hill. He got to drive this course first thing this morning, and it will have changed massively.
Oh, you can tell just by the look of it. We've seen it change all day. We've seen the ruts get dug out. We've seen the starting line get dug out.
But look at the shadows now casting into those ruts.
Oh, they're huge.
You lose children in there now. As he comes round over through the Jeep arch. Which line's he going to take? Picks that far left line. Hits that throttle. Makes that little Japanese rice burner sing. Great stuff there from Danny.
Shawn Holland on the line, 4416. All right, once again, early jump. It backed up before he cracked the beams, so just to back up, hit it again.
Shawn Hollands did actually break the beam, but our production crew are fantastic and our race ups are superb, so they're just resetting that now. A little bit of confusion there, and it's great to see that they're giving him a second chance.
You can see that start a little bit more conservative with Darren's. I'm sure he saw Darren take that corner incredibly fast, end up on two wheels.
Okay, for the guys watching at home in Europe, we've got Inaki Lanzagorta sitting in 25th place. Danny Roderick came in then with a 3-minute 23. That puts him in 64th. Then Nicolas Montador from France in 65th. Then in 67th is Neville Canter. In 69th is Barry Smethurst from Australia. But this is Shawn Hollands in the 4416 car.
He was carrying a lot of speed through that short course section, got really high on a couple of the berms. Carrying a good amount of speed through the bottom side. Taking that sharp turn up. You can see that's in full shade right now. And he'll pop up over the top and down the backside. This is where we've seen people pick up or lose a lot of time.
And look at the shadows, how that's changed.
Oh, it's completely different now that the sun's moved into a new spot.
And that's something that our power hour guys are going to have to deal with as well.
Absolutely, that transition from that heavily shaded trail, you're going to pop up over the top. You're not going to be able to see. The sun's going to hit you right in the face.
Power hour is that weird one. It's a huge honor to be in power hour, but does it work for you or does it work against you?
Well, it'll all tell as we see how Brian Croft's time holds up against that, because he definitely was not part of power hour. Threw down a time that he could have been part of power hour. Car's fast enough.
Yeah, it was a fantastic run. Also great runs from Casey Curry and from Cody Addington, our current top three.
Very good time as he comes around. line, George Pornesti, car 4432. He heads off into the short course. Solid axle car, clipping its way through the high berms. As he comes screaming through, going to take this last jump and then head out into the desert. Making good time as he moves up into the 4-wheel parts rock section. Carrying a lot of speed through this section. This is the section where we see a lot of drivers pick up or lose a lot of time. So we can see good pace here, cresting the top, just over 140. We'll see a lot of time being made up on the backside. You can see he's dipping in and out of the sun too. That's going to be incredibly hard to see. Oh, look at that. Oh.
You can't do that to us. Get some cameras around there. Come on, guys.
Hopefully we see him come around here very soon. I still hear an engine, so I think he's okay.
That's the save of the day. Look at that. Goodness.
That was an amazing move.
George Pornesti giving it absolutely everything for us here.
Doing incredibly well.
How did he save that, Ian?
Speed and power, my friend. Speed and power, always the answer. You know, it honestly is when you're out in the desert like that and you start to get checked up like that, 9 times out of 10, it's better just to stand your foot in it and hope for the best.
Absolutely, as we look at the 4451 car of Mel Wade.
Very interesting car here with Mel. You know, this car is basically, I believe, still the front half of a stock JK frame. They back halved it this year, make some changes, stretch the wheelbase. But Mel has always been proud of the fact that his car has always raced on a factory JK frame.
Mel has a fantastic history in this event, particularly on qualifying. He had that huge rollover a few years ago. Got it back on his wheels and went straight back up where he'd been before.
Absolutely, Mel is one of those drivers that he will not stop until the job is done.
And George Pornesti, who we just saw have that huge save, came in at 2 minutes 50 and is unbelievably in 39th position. That has been the quality of the qualifying that we've been seeing today as we watch Mel Wade powering down around this amazing course.
This truck takes part in many different types of off-road racing. We see Mel out anywhere he can throw this truck in the dirt, he can.
My kind of guy, I love that. Multidiscipline racing, great fun. And we're looking at the top of short bus now. And on the far side, there he is in the shadows, Mel Wade himself. Coming up over the top now.
Yeah, you can see Mel trying to make up a lot of time. You can see dipping in and out of the shadows on the backside.
I know a lot of the Power Hour crews were praying for some cloud cover to take away that problem, but that's not happening. There's blue skies here in Johnson Valley. Oh, look at that huge jump from Mel Wade there.
That's the second car we've seen get out of sorts in that one section. There must be something there.
Something's changed.
Big old gotcha in the middle of the desert.
And just before Power Hour. Got to make this more exciting.
We can see Mel pushing hard up the top, coming around through the Jeep arch.
Looking like he's going to be somewhere around the sort of 320, 325. Let's not forget we've got 99 cars here vying for starting position for the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers powered by Optima batteries. A race that starts at 8 a.m. on Friday this week.
Mark Danzo on the line, car number 524.
And we're watching Mark Danzo now as he makes his way round through the short course. And those turns have been really rutted up today.
There's been a lot of action on that short course.
.524 picking his way through the four-wheel parts rock garden.
Back down into the dirt. This is where we'll see, because you can see it's just absolutely horrendous down in that one section of the course.
That dipping sun making it look worse. And we're finally getting some understanding of how cut up this course really is.
And it's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse as the day goes on. And we still have a lot of qualifiers to go through, especially when we start rolling through Power Hour.
And we're getting closer and closer to that magic time where we get to see all our former kings and lots of other heroes as well. And if you think it's been crazy so far, you cannot wait for this. It's going to be a full throttle assault from start to finish. All of the Campbells, Eric Miller, Josh Byler, Randy Slawson, but to name a few.
It'll be hard to see if anyone can knock Brian Crofts off that podium.
Yeah, that was an exceptional time Brian laid down earlier. He's in a Dragon 2. And we're going to see Lauren Healy and Nick Nelson also in Dragon 2s out here later today. Mark Danzo getting a little bit of air there, but nothing like what we saw earlier with George Prenesti.
Absolutely. Making that long turn up the hill and back through the Jeep arch before dropping back down into Hammertown.
Keeping it neat, keeping it tidy. Going to be around about the 3:05 mark. Nice clean run there from Mark Danzo.
And here we go on the line. Jordan Pellegrino, the one we've been talking about all morning. Brand new car, 4-wheel independent suspension.
Frame was designed and built by Quimbolds. Computer aided design to create the frame. And all the IFS suspension. Rear trailing arm independent forward. This is something else. There's going to be so many people sitting on the edge of their seats getting ready to watch this. Young man has 770 horsepower under his right foot.
Incredibly flat as he comes around that
Look
corner.
at
Look
that.
at the air on that jump. Absolutely amazing.
Okay, Ian, what do you reckon then? Is he going to be able to challenge Brian Crofts?
I think there's a good chance he can. I think if he doesn't unseat him, he's going to move into our second place position.
Do you really? Wow, that's a big, big ask, I think. But let's see what we can do. This young man, he has not got much seat time, but what he has got is he's got Hammers history. He came here as a very young man, started racing in the EMC classes and then moved out to 4400 last year. He's cut his teeth on these trails. These trails are local for him.
If you watch him go through this rock section, he's under a minute through those rocks. That is blistering fast.
Oh my word, this is special.
It's in the corners where that 4-wheel independent suspension really shines. That car is staying perfectly flat, not lifting a tire, not leaning over. This is where it's really starting to show how important the suspension design is in this particular package.
Now he needs to be looking at about 130 as he's cresting the top of Short Bus. And we know that this is the key area right here, so what can he do? It's clean. Lost a little bit of time there.
So loose in that one section. You can just see so much tire spin, so much just trying to climb up this hill.
He's on pace at the moment.
Oh, crests it at the exact 130. This is going to be tight.
This is going to be close. Now the shadows come into play.
And this will be the downhill section where if he's going to make up time, this is where he makes it up.
We saw Cody Wagner's full independent car get caught out here earlier. What's going to happen to Jordan?
Oh, you can see right there, that's an unlucky bounce.
And a few seconds get bled away.
If you look at this car and compare it, just in comparison to some of the other cars, it looks a little bit wider in track.
It does.
You get more suspension travel.
It also looks soft.
It does. You get much more suspension travel with that wider track, but it's wider in those rock sections.
No.
That's exactly where it bit him.
I feel sorry for Jordan here. He lost a lot of time there.
I still think we're
But
going to
he's
see
still
a good
good. He's on.
time.
Oh, this is looking good though. I don't think he's going to get that first, but he's going to be very, very close.
Definitely see a top 10 out of this, I think. Comes down through the back of the Jeep arch.
Trying to keep those wheels on the deck, get that horsepower down, and across the line for Jordan Pellegrino.
What a way to cross to. Excellent job. Let's see where he ended up. Jordan Pellegrino moves into 4th position with a 2:26. If he had not clipped that rock, I still think he would have been right behind Brian in that second place slot. That cost him.
Okay, now this car going off the line now is 103. It says it's Chris Hummer, but it's not. It's actually Neil Cooper who's at the wheel of this vehicle. Out of Australia. Neil Hooper and Chris Hummer race together, and they are seasoned competitors. They've won the Outback Challenge Australia 3 times and come 3rd no less than 6 times. Chris also part of the amazing Malaysian Rainforest Challenge and was part of the organising committee for over 10 years. Between them, these guys got over 50 years of off-road experience at the top end of the sport, and it was time for them to come to Hammers. They brought their wives over here last year for a bit of a holiday, and it's turned into a bit of a race.
Well, you know, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier, Jim. You come here one time to watch a race, you're back within the next year or two with a race car, no matter what. That just happens when you come out here and watch one of these races.
Now, Neil Hooper, he's used to running winch challenge style trucks, but he's used to keeping them together for 7 days at a time for those big Australian events. And it's the same deal as we were saying about the other foreign competitors earlier. He's not here to win. He's just here to pay homage to Hammers,
Absolutely.
to enjoy the atmosphere, to meet the other teams and lock wheels with the best Ultra 4 drivers on the planet.
But as we've always said from the very beginning, on race day, on Friday, it truly is anybody's race. It's been proven time and time again. There's no guarantees in Ultra 4 racing.
As we wait for Neil Hooper to come over the top, let's just have a quick catch up on the top 5. We've got Brian Crofts with a 2 minute 21. Casey Curry in the Trophy Jeep with a 2 minutes 24. We've got Cody Addington, who laid down an amazing run early on with a 2 minutes 25. And there's Jordan Pellegrino. We've just seen him, the young man, putting in a 4th position, 2 minutes 26. And then rounding out the top 5 is Jeff McKinley with a 2:27. Those are incredible times, Ian.
Oh, incredibly fast. And we still haven't even seen Power Hour yet. This afternoon, I think we're going to see some amazing driving, some excellent cars on the course. Lots of fun. Still lots of action to see.
Now the car here that we're seeing, got Neil Hooper at the wheel, but this is not the first time this car's been to hammers. Previously belonged to another Australian crew. And Neil's doing a great job here. And this is good pace. He's just going to be around that 3 minute mark, which is exceptional.
Absolutely.
Nice run there from Neil.
We've got Ryan Stambaugh on the line, car number 22.
Yeah.
Off the line. Over that first jump into the first turn. Blistering fast pace through that desert section. You can see that rear suspension working well. Heading up into that 4-wheel parts rock section.
Ryan Stambaugh here, car 22. Making his way out through the top of short bus.
Up to the top.
Look how dark it is over the back there now.
Oh, it's incredibly dark. And then what even makes it worse is you've got a good chunk of shade and then you're right back into the sun again.
And here comes Ryan now down the far side. IFS suspension working beautifully.
As he works his way around King Mountain. On the line is someone that we haven't talked about a lot, but we've been waiting. Sitting on the line is, of course, Nick Nelson. Car number 40. Absolutely amazing car.
Here goes Khaleesi leaving the line. Nick Nelson. Listen to that big block sing.
You cannot hide that big block power when it takes off the line. No question. Making quick work of that short course. Look at that.
Wow. Okay, we were asking about Jordan earlier and saying, what do you reckon he could do? But I'm going to ask you this. What do you reckon Nick Nelson can do?
Oh, I think Nick is on a great pace here. We'll be able to tell where he crosses through that 4-wheel parts rock garden, because we saw Jordan go through it at the under 1 minute mark. The question will be, can Nick navigate the backside a lot better than Jordan did? Jordan had that unlucky bounce.
Yeah, he did.
I would say he's about on pace where Jordan was, under one. It's almost the exact same.
It's almost the exact pace. If anything, I'd say he's around about a second and a half. But look at the chop.
Oh, it's insane.
He got thrown there. The time that he saved on the rocks, he lost on the far side.
He'll be pushing hard through here. And then it'll come the big climb and then back down the backside. If he can navigate that backside drop better, I think we may end up with somebody in at least the top 5.
It's worth noting, you can be a great pilot, you can have a great car, but you also have to have a little bit of luck.
Just look how loose that ground is there. He's just struggling, fighting for traction as he climbs up the backside.
So where's he going to be? Oh, he's on. Yeah, this is good. This is very fast.
It'll be how fast he comes down here. This is the part that gets tricky. We're going to see right up here is exactly where Jordan got crossed up. Nick does not. He does a good job. Good job.
This is it. We're on, boys.
Incredibly fast.
Brian Crofts is chewing his fingernails even as we watch. And let's not forget, we haven't even got to Power Hour yet. And Nick Nelson is showing us why he's still considered to be one of the best in the business.
Putting that big block to work. Coming up over the top. Look at that.
We already have 2 dragons in the top 5. Are we going to see a third one? This is blisteringly quick. 2:15, 2:16, 2:17.
Oh my goodness, we may have a new leader.
Look at that.
And we do. Nick Nelson takes the pole at 2:18.
He takes 3 seconds out of Brian Cross.
3 seconds
3
faster.
dragons enter the top 5.
That is absolutely amazing. We wondered if anyone was going to unseat Brian, and not only did he knock him off the pole, he knocked him well off the pole with 3 seconds to spare.
I've made a mistake there. It's actually 3 dragons in the top 6.
Wow, that is
amazing. Which is still incredible. This Manufacturers' Cup is going to be very exciting this year.
Well, there's no question that the Jimmy's cars have dominated Ultra 4 for the longest time. Their solid axle cars always did incredibly well. And then the transition over to IFS, I think Randy Rod and the crew at Jimmy's have done an excellent job putting together a great package. Right car, right driver, right day. They've got it set up.
And let's not forget, we've still got another dragon to come yet. We have got 2-time king, Lauren Healy, coming up in the Power Hour.
And there's no question, Lauren is fast.
And look how popular Nick Nelson is. He comes back into town. Loads of clapping, loads of cheering, lots of whooping. Great to see.
You cannot hide horsepower when you hear that engine drive through.
Well, it's been a fantastic day of qualifying here in Hammertown. It's been the 4400 class, all qualifying for places in this year's 2018 Nitto King of the Hammers powered by Optima batteries. And there's been some fantastic stories to tell. But the big one is that Nick Nelson, the last of our qualifying group, has just gone through in an amazing 2 minutes 18 to take pole position.
You know, we've been wondering all morning if anyone's going to break into that teens. Seeing Nick do it, now we know it's doable, and we still have the heavy hitters in this race to come out and lay down an even faster time.
So the question is, do we think this course has got more to give? Can we see someone getting down to below 2:15, 2:14 even? It seems a big ask.
All right, so let's take a quick look at our current unofficial top 10 qualifiers right now. We have Nick Nelson, who just crossed the line at 2:18, backed up by Brian Crofts at that 2:21 that sat for so long.
Then in third place is Casey Curry, and in fourth, our longtime leader, Cody Addington.
Jordan Pellegrino, who we thought was going to unseat that that pole position, but ended up landing in 5th, and Jeff McKinley at 2:27 in 6th position.
Then in 7th place, we've got Greg Adler in that huge car. And then in 8th, another big block Chevy with Jason Blanton.
Darren Henke right behind him, and finally Rick Waterbury rounding out our top 10 qualifiers.
Worth noting, Rick Waterbury is the only solid axle car in that top 10 currently.
Absolutely, you know, that's one thing. These qualifying courses definitely favor the IFS car. With so much desert, so little rocks, the question will be, does that hold true on race day, or do we see a solid axle car becoming more dominant again, depending on what the course looks like?